I do want to talk some WoW because I don't know if anyone watched our latest weekly reset episode, and we did talk about this a little bit yesterday on stream as well. But on our latest weekly reset episode, it's all about the leaks, right?
Oh yeah, it is leak
all
season.
about, well, it leaks, but also kind of Blizzard reveals and stuff as well. And loads of stuff to be going through. So in that episode we go over the Blizzard kind of handout for what's going to actually be happening in Blizzard at BlizzCon and things like that, and focusing obviously on this mount that crops up. That they're showing us, the and more mount.
The and more.
Yeah. Which looks like it's going to be the BlizzCon mount, right?
It is, isn't it? It has to be.
Yeah, that's going to be involved with, because it looks like a Blizzard. They like having Blizzard themed kind of mounts.
Bit icy.
Mounts.
Of course.
Exactly. So, but there's also reasonable to speculate that it might be kind of themed after the next WoW expansion. But the real meat and potatoes is in the data mined achievements. The achievements are very exciting. Storm Rider, Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Heroic Edition Algarian Storm Rider.
Right.
Algarian, of course, referring to Kaz Algar, which is the place that we learn about in the Watcher Report Earthen, which is a book that you find in the revamped Uldaman, which launched with Dragonflight, launched before Dragonflight, actually, in the pre-patch, and refers to a place called Kaz Algar. We don't know where that is, but we know that it's full of a bunch of Earthen who aren't the Earthen that turned into dwarves. They're completely different.
Right.
Like, they share a common ancestor, but like they separated off long before the Curse of Flesh changed the Earthen from Uldaman into dwarves. However, they are also infected with the Curse of Flesh. However, according to this report, it hasn't had so much an effect on them, and they have largely resisted it.
Right.
But despite that, the Watcher remarks that they are still showing signs of still showing in terms of behavior and evolution and general demeanor and language. They are actually sharing a lot with the dwarfs.
Okay.
Even though they shouldn't be, really, by all accounts, to the extent of actually calling this place Kaz Algar themselves. That's like the Earthen who are there studying this geological anomaly, this fissure in the ground, this big crack in the ground. That's what they've called the place, Kaz Algar. So that's basically all we know. We know there is a place called Kaz Algar. We know it's full of Earthen. We know it's the groundwork has been laid down in that book in Uldaman. Strange, like hilariously, so I was reminded as I was going through stuff for the video, the flavor text on the actual book item is probably should have remained confidential. Oh, which is really funny.
Really?
Yeah. So that's really good because like it now looks like that book in particular was explicitly kind of telling us where we were going to go for the next expansion.
Right.
So the fact that the Heroic Edition, the mount that's coming with the Heroic Edition of presumably next expansion, is the Algarian Storm Rider, means that, one, it's from Kaz Algar,
right,
which definitely suggests we'll be going to Kaz Algar next expansion, and Storm Rider, which we're assuming at this stage is a griffin. Because just because I think we found some griffin skins and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's dwarvy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Riding the
Dwarves
griffins.
love riding griffins,
wielding their big crackling hammers. Like what else?
Yeah,
what else is more dwarven, right?
So that's not all we've got. We've also got some. In the files right now, there's a transmog item called Arsenal Storm Riders Storm Hammers.
Right.
That's Wildhammer specifically, though. What? Storm Riders?
Yeah.
No,
just the griffins.
Yeah, but so this one's called the Algarian Storm Rider, though.
Right.
So specifically not Wildhammer.
Yeah, sure.
That's the thing. Like, it's like, the ones that don't forget, we have never met the Earthen from Kaz Algar. They were kind of over in Kaz Algar long before literally the dwarves even turned. Like, the dwarves didn't exist when the Earthen from went to Kaz Algar. Like, humans didn't exist when that happened. Like, we in like our existence. We've never met them. They are also Storm Riders. So the one that they're referring to is specifically the Algarian Storm Rider. The Griffin riding and hammer throwing are wild hammers, so it's really cool if Khazar has a similar vibe. Well, yeah, like the report says, they've developed a similar vibe despite not being kind of connected to them at all. But my personal pet theory is that the Storm Rider achievements are going to be part of a pre-purchase campaign.
Okay.
I think you will buy pre-purchase. I think they're going to release the pre-purchase after the announcement at BlizzCon.
Okay. Makes sense. That's good timing.
Definitely. I think they'll definitely have that in line. And I think these Storm Riders are an event that is unlocked when you buy the pre-purchase. I think you will get the mount as part of the pre-purchase, the Algarian Storm Rider, just like you got the Mana Worm when you bought pre-purchase Shadowlands.
Yeah.
And that Mana Worm unlocked a quest to collect a ton of mana.
Yes, I remember.
And then you got the transmog, do you remember? So I think having the Storm Riding mount, which would be a dynamic mount, a Dragon Riding mount, but a Griffin, the first one probably, I think that will unlock these Storm Rider races, which will be in like the Storm Peaks and maybe Stormheim and other places around the world which are known for their storms and things like that.
Love it.
And I think by getting the Storm Rider Gold achievement, I think that will reward you with the Stormhammer Arsenal transmogs. And furthermore, I think that when you are awarded those Stormhammers, I think like Bran Bronzebeard is going to be there or something and be like, wow, we've never seen any hammers like this before. Like, these are clearly dwarven, but they're not any dwarven things we recognize. You keep these in your transmog
Hold
tab,
on to
but I'm
those.
going to take these away and study them. And we'll get back to you once we've done some good studying. And then that will be their way into the next expansion. Like then for the pre-patch, for the next expansion, like in a year's time, Bran will come back and he'll be like, oh my God, hero, you'll never guess what. We've been studying these hammers, and it turns out, I'm pretty sure there's another race of earthen and who are kind of dwarfy in this place called Khazar. And by deciphering the clues on their weapons, on these hammers that you gave us to study, I'm pretty sure we know how to get there now.
Okay.
Do you want to go and check it out? And I think that'll be our in. And I think Khazar will be like Oribos. I think it will be the staging post. And because I have a confirmation bias towards the Western Storms and towards like beyond the Western Storms and towards like the expansion being based on a continent beyond the Western Storms, I'm particularly interested in the fact that the Khazalgarians are really good Storm Riders, apparently.
It's
because
true.
If we did want to find a way across the storms, a bunch of earthen who are literally called Storm Riders and who are particularly good at storm riding would probably be a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just that's what I feel like. I
like your theories, Tali. This is enticing.
So that's the theory I'm working off at the moment. This will be a pre-purchase event that is unlocked by pre-purchasing the expansion, and the races are part of like this event that will go live basically after BlizzCon. So there will technically kind of be 11.0 content to play after BlizzCon, like there was when the Shadowlands pre-purchase eventually went live. It was quite late, that Shadowlands pre-purchase coming, but I think that's really, really cool. Dragon riding was phase 1, storm riding is phase 2. Yeah, but the thing is, like, once you're through the storm, it's just got normal flying and shit again. You can have boats and shit then once you're through the storm.
Oh, yeah.
I think the storm will be like this really cool effect, but will essentially be like the broken sky from Shadowlands.
Yeah.
It's there and it's like a major kind of like visual feature of the expansion, but gameplay-wise, it's not a huge feature at all. It's just like explaining something.
Yeah, and thinking of it, I think it helps to think of it as the entry point to the whole thing, and not necessarily discrediting any of the other kind of like boats, night squall, all that.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Can all still happen.
And that's the thing. And there is a pet achievement called Squally as well, which I'm really sorry. I'm guessing is going to be like a little elemental or whatever. But I mean, you can't ignore the fact that it is kind of quite like the name Night Squall.
Just a bit,
right?
Just a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we are at the moment, and that's that nothing I've said here is new in terms of Taliesin and Evitel. We put this out in the weekly reset. If you haven't watched that, please watch it. We put it out much more succinctly and better and funnier than we do here with better camera quality.
It's true.
yeah, we were talking about on stream yesterday. So like that is where I'm at in my theories right now for next expansion, based on like the available evidence and shit, right? However, someone then tagged me in this post last night before I was about to go to bed.
Fresh information. Let's see it.
Two fun things happened last night before I went to bed. I got tagged in this post, and someone left a comment on one of our YouTube videos, and who is like a literal hero of mine, and it made me really, really happy that they left a comment on one of our videos. And I was like, I didn't even know they knew who we were. I know if it was them or it was their editor. Who cares? I don't care. The fact is that I've screenshotted it. They can delete it. That comment will be there forever. And the other thing was this, and this is Manaborn, who very kindly sent us, tagged us in this, found a new book on the PTR near the Eye of Ysera.
Okay.
We're gonna read this.
Okay.
Because I was tagged in this for a reason. Okay. And this is called The Tragedy of Erinethria.
Okay.
In the days when the kingdom of dragons was young, brave Erinethia's emerald wings soared above the clouds. The fastest flyer of her day, she feared no enemy, nor would she back down from any challenge. Alas, her courage would be her undoing.
Ooh.
Erinethria had flown to the far corners of Kalimdor and back. She had witnessed wondrous sights and loved to share stories of them with her kin. Yet there came a day when Erinethria felt she had seen all there was to see of the world. She grew bored, restless. Erinethria sought the wisdom of Keeper Tyr. Great Keeper. That's the voice.
Yes, very good. Big green dragon voice, yeah.
Cheers, I appreciate that. Thank you. Great Keeper, is there any mastery left for me to discover? Any riddle yet to be solved? Everything you need is here, child. What more could you want to see? What else could you seek to know? As the dragon's brow furrowed, a cool wind blew in from the west.
Uh-oh!
The breeze, Great Keeper. I wish to see the place from whence the winds are born. Tyr grew solemn. Beyond the storming sea lies only ruin. Stay close to home. Stay close to kin.
Ooh.
Yeah, but that's not it. I thought that was it for a long time, but then I realized there was another tweet. Tyr's warning hung like a shadow over Erinethia's heart. It clashed again and again with her deep yearning for answers. One bright morning, the green dragon bid farewell to her clutchmates. Fear not, she told them, for I can fly higher than any storm, faster than any thunder, and when I know from whence the west winds come, I shall return home and tell you all. And with that, Erinethria soared into the sky. Moons passed, and still more, yet brave Erinethria did not return. Even Ysera woke from her dreaming to aid in the search, but there was no sign to be found. Most believed that Erinethria was lost to the storming sea, that her mighty wings grew tired and torn by the harsh winds, and that she tumbled into the roiling waters. But some Greens claimed that they saw her in their dreams, that she reached a land beyond, where she had raised a brood of her own. Ooh. Surely after all these ages, we must accept the truth of her loss. While we honour her courage, we must remember the wisdom she failed to heed. Beyond the storming sea lies only ruin. Stay close to home. Stay close to kin.
Ooh.
There is one last page.
I keep thinking it's done.
Beware, beware, the wind from the west. It calls... Beware, beware, the wind from the west. Its call holds only doom. For if you take wing across the storm and sea, you shall share Erinethria's tomb. The cadence fits, just saying. So that's what has been sent. That's a book that has been found on the PTR in the Emerald Dream, in the Green Dragon stuff. I mean, and that, yeah. I mean, if it wasn't confirmed already,
yeah.
I mean, I hate to say Tali is right, but Tali is definitely right. I'm really sorry.
We're
definitely going
in this instance
beyond the Western Storms.
We are.
Basically, that video that I made 4 months ago, like the important bits from that video, I am still convinced are completely right.
Okay.
And
you know what? This is very convincing.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's telling a great story. But yeah, I mean, what, the wind's calling from the west.
Oh my god! And I love
and
I love this stage, right?
Yeah.
I love this stage where we've got theories that things might kind of be hinting at and things like that. I really love it. And there's just like, it's so mysterious and brilliant, you know?
Yeah.
I love where she's like, the breeze, great keeper. I wish to see the place from whence the winds are born.
It's like, really good.
So do I.
It's really good.
I want to see that as well.
And I love, obviously the whole like elemental element, the breeze itself, like calling from the west, flying through the storm. And then all we know is that beyond this storm is just ruin. There's her tomb.
So cool.
Or is she there with all her little broodlings?
Or just shit that the Titans don't want you to see.
Exactly.
Right?
They're like, no. Yeah. Tyr's like, don't worry about it.
So Tyr knows about it. Like, we've already established that the Titans do know that Kalimdor wasn't the only original continent.
Oh, yeah.
And, so Aness is saying, what does that even mean? What does all of that even mean? So, I don't know, like, what your level of knowledge is about WoW lore. Clearly, you don't watch enough Taliesin and Evitel videos. But, so... west of Kalimdor, no one knows what's there. Because west of Kalimdor, there are canonically magical storms that no one can pass. So, like, if you sail west of Kalimdor or east of Eastern Kingdoms, you won't go full circle and come to the other side like you would Earth. Because there are magical storms in the way. Like you sail west from Kalimdor, you can't get any further because they will stop you. So my speculation has always been for this particular expansion, ever since like the Night School book appeared in 10 point, and that's why I did that video all those months ago, because I was like, I've already formulated an idea for next expansion. I want to get it out there basically before anyone else does.
Just right away.
So that people don't say, like, so I can basically say everyone else has copied me. It doesn't matter if people come to the same conclusions independently. I need to get the video out first, and I will stand by any mocking that happens. Like, if I'm completely wrong, because it'll be worth it to be able to say I was the first one that said it.
It is a gamble, but it is worth the potential humiliation.
It was totally worth. Because at the end of the day, if it was wrong, we could all forget about it. And
exactly, no one cares.
But if I'm right, holy shit, I get to fucking crow about that forever. Didn't say anything about no pirate kings. Well, I mean, it doesn't, except literally the Night School book tells you the story of a Night School, a night elf privateer who also has found a way through the storms and has now come back to like Azeroth, our side of Azeroth, to gather a huge privateer army, the biggest privateer army ever, he intends to take back through the storms and plunder these new lands. So I think we will see Night School there too, in the Western Kingdoms. So I love all this. I love all this language. I think it's great, and I love what it implies. Yeah. So when you say like beyond the Western storms lies only ruins, do you think? Or only ruin? Does that mean like your doom, or does it mean literal ruins?
I mean, I
took it as meaning your doom.
It's your doom. Yeah. We don't know what's beyond there, but I'm down with the idea of this green dragon having gone and kind of established her own lineage there. So I think ruin is like your ruin.
Totally.
You're definitely.
And what do we think? Is it like old god stuff over there? Like, what are they so scared of?
I know, right?
If it's from so it's interesting because my natural thing would be like, oh, maybe it's a part of Azeroth that is still under the control of the Black Empire, right? Maybe it's that. Maybe it's all like old god stuff. But then what I really love is this thing of it's where the winds come from. It's where like the west and beyond the Western Storm is where the winds originate.
I love that,
which is so cool,
it's so enticing,
and like really really nice. And I love that. I love that idea of, the air aspect. Who's the air aspect? Who's the not the air aspect, but the air like elemental lord has been conspicuous in his absence.
Alakir?
Alakir, thank you.
Yeah.
Alakir is missing, like established in in Legion and BFA, that Alakir is missing right now. Like, am I right in this? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not great with elemental lore when it comes to WoW, because I'm traditionally not that interested in it. So yeah, Neptulon and Alakir are missing. And we're gonna have a big old fight with the fire elemental lord in obviously this raid coming up in point 2.
So is this going to be the resurgence of
yeah
shaman?
I mean it seems like it feels like it could be. Now I would be surprised if it was a major theme of the expansion, because there's been so much elemental stuff, this expansion,
right? Exactly.
So I think it will be present, and I think it will be a thing, but I don't think it's going to be like an elemental expansion.
No.
In the same way that people are like, yeah, but like, why would you be based on Khazar and it would be all doing storm riding and flying through the storms and stuff? Because that's exactly how Dragonflight started. Like, there was so much storm stuff at the beginning of Dragonflight with Razageth being the antagonist and stuff. Like, isn't that just a retread literally of the expansion we just had? And it's like, that's like saying that Shadowlands was completely themed around Oribos. It wasn't. Like, all the zones in Shadowlands were very different from Oribos. And if Khazar, I see Khazar in my headcanon right now, in my theory of being a staging post where we go through the storms. Like, that's the point in the game where we can go through the storm and access the new continent,
or maybe
right?
like where you land.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Maybe it's where you land and from where
totally.
you can continue.
So
on.
like that'll be a big theme of Khazar, and there's probably gonna be some awesome graphic when you go through the storm and shit like that, and maybe you'll have to fly through it the first time and stuff, like to get a portal going and shit, or maybe you have to do it every time, like the cool like Doctor Who time way in Oribos and stuff.
Yeah, I kind of miss that. Is that bad to say?
I don't miss it in any way. You clearly did not do enough world quests. So like I think it will be big in that kind of opening literal kind of scenes of the expansion, but I don't think I think once you're through the storm, you've got this whole, and that can be anything, and it can be completely alien or familiar or both, because it's basically untouched by the Titans. It's the first bit of the of Azeroth that we'll have ever been to where the Titans are just like, nope. Nah, not that bit, mate. Nah, fuck that. Let's just pretend that doesn't exist, and we'll tell everyone it doesn't exist.
No, exactly.
I think that's great. So I mean, very like really interesting stuff. I love the language they use. So with the whole like Daughter of the Sea song here, someone was talking about that earlier.
Beware the wind from
Is
the
it
west.
possible the Kultirans wrote Daughter of the Sea from the Tragedy of Erinethria? Could there be some connection lore-wise, do you think? Great point. Well, something that we picked up on in BFA was that obviously when you're being like, there are other lyrics to Daughter of the Sea that people in game in BFA and Kultiras do sometimes sing. I think like when you're being like taken on a barge. One of the NPCs starts singing Daughter of the Sea, but it's got different lyrics. It's not about Jaina.
Okay.
And so that's always really beautiful because it means that is a traditional Kultiran song.
Nice.
Which they adapted to be about Jaina when Jaina went off and they made her a baddie. Like in Kultiran, like, when she became an enemy of Kultiras, it was like they slotted her into this song.
No, it's the tragedy of Jaina.
Exactly. But before that, it was an established song already, and it was already like something that they sang. So yeah, the lineage of that song can go way back. And, I don't think I'm reading too much into it.
That's really cool.
Cadence of this bit at the end of Tragedy of Erinethria is in the cadence of Daughter of the Sea. I mean, beware are the first few words. So like, they're making it quite clear,
Oh, I love that as a call out, and I love that as a song that's like historical for Kultirans. That's actually such a cool point. And like, maybe there is some link to this, right? To the tragedy of Erinethria.
Yeah.
Oh,
so cool.
So
and I would love to. I mean, this is the kind of one thing that I think Steve Denusa is actually very good at, which has happened a lot during his reign. And you're allowed to hate Steve Denusa for any reason you like. I don't care. But one thing I think he's really good at is these kind of books and stuff that are around the place in the game. Like that's been something that the game has kind of relied on much more for like giving hints and like little teasers of lore and stuff. I feel like there's been a big uptick in that since Sea of Danusa has been around, and I really like it. It's the kind of stuff that I love finding, I love reading, I love speculating about, and it's really satisfying when that's and like since Danusa's been there is a good track record of that stuff then cropping up in game. It's not like the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron where those whispers were there and they were super exciting, but essentially nothing ever happened with them until like a million years later. When like recently, when you find a book of something, it's going to appear next expansion or later in this expansion or a bit further down the road. And like that's exciting because you find shit and it's relevant. It's going to be relevant.
Yeah.
And it's fun and it makes it extra good to kind of like.
Do you think this kind of like establishing lore through books and song in the game, is this a hint at, potential bard class? Like the keepers
I was thinking of a musical
of
series.
If we could get like, those the old school style animations back, like the Legion ones, like Harbingers and stuff. God.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we are looking, Warcraft the musical.
I know. I'm thinking more. It's like this is so important, but you can only find it out through books, through songs. Clearly, bards are coming.
Yeah.
And
my number one improvement that I would make to WoW would be a library. If I could choose any feature in WoW, even before I chose like player housing, I would choose the library tab that collects and stores every book that you collect in game.
God, that would be so good.
So you can fill it out, you can access them, you can search it, you can separate them by expansion, you can separate them by zone.
Surely like a data miner has done this already. Like,
no, apparently it's actually basically impossible to
really
do. Yeah. It's because your character currently doesn't keep track of what books you've read yourself.
Right.
So
right.
it's
Okay.
and imagine all of the bank slots you could regain, and also just how much better it would be for people who speculate on lore and stuff, or who just like it. Like it's a major part of this game. It's a huge part of this game. And library tab is my number one change that I would make to the game. I love collections tabs. I have loads of add-ons that add collection tabs, but no one has been able to make the library one. And if you are an add-on maker and you reckon you could do that, please do. But I love this. Thank you so much to Manaborn for tagging us in this. And I love it. We're gonna. This will find its way onto the second channel. Cheers, Ryla. But there's no way this is the last we're talking about this book.
No.
This is like so cool. So good. So thank you for sending that to us. Please tag us in anything you find like this. I absolutely adore it. Super exciting. And I'm not saying that just because it kind of does confirm, I think, totally confirms, or definitely points in the same direction as my main theory for next expansion, which makes me feel clever.
It's all
totally. Like, it makes me feel very clever. So that gives it points. Awesome. But also just because I love shit like this anyway. It's so interesting. It's so cool. So thanks Rylar for editing this, and like and subscribe.